Hi, and welcome to Tea Time with Owen. I'm your host, Owen, a person of many passions and many projects. You may remember me from my work on another podcast called What's the Tea? And you're probably wondering, Owen, why after 59 episodes have you decided to start over? Well, I can really name a number of reasons. The first one is that last Saturday I kind of had a heart to heart with myself, and that's just that for as great as What's the Tea was, and for as much fun as I had putting it together, there really just wasn't a future in it. And once I really decided that and was just kind of like, I felt like I was kind of limiting myself when I was doing it to just pro wrestling, sports, and pop culture, which at times was not a bad thing, but it just felt like I knew I could do more and I knew I wanted to do more with it. And like I said, the original concept of What's the Tea was great, and I really enjoyed doing it. And really, the second reason I can name is just that it felt like the concept just didn't work anymore. Because I'm not the same guy I was 3 years ago when I started doing my podcast. You know, I've learned a lot more about how to do it and the importance of good equipment and testing it. So I just kind of felt like it was time to change the concept, and it was time to put What's the Tea to bed for as great as it was. And I've actually got an announcement regarding that. I will be posting the original first 5 episodes of What's the Tea back on Spotify as part of my big 25th birthday celebration. Because, I thought that'd be a really cool idea considering I know there are people that love the original episodes, and I still have the recordings, and I just thought, "Hey, that might be a really cool idea." But yeah, as far as What's the Tea is concerned, it's finished, and I think in a lot of ways, that's gonna be a really good thing because 'cause I'm a journalist as well. I work at my, campus paper, so, I just think maybe going into a more not really serious, but maybe a more professional kinda setup for this would be really beneficial in a lot of ways. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing What's the Tea and always remember it as really kind of the first rendition of what this is going to be. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed What's the Tea and you're coming from What's the Tea, I really appreciate you. It's great to have you back. And if this is your first time experiencing one of my shows or one of my videos, welcome. Glad to have you aboard. But anyways, let's just move on from What's the Tea and let's get into what Tea Time with Owen is going to be all about. Because this episode, I kind of want to be the introduction. And that's kind of something I think I didn't do the best at with the original What's the Tea, is just I didn't do an episode where I kind of introduced myself to you guys. And that I didn't do an episode where I kind of introduced what I was going to talk about on the show. And that's kind of something I've just learned from watching a lot of videos on how to restart podcasts and things like that. Because I love to learn new things. And I think that's something that we'll all learn along the way. But anyway, let's get into what this show is going to be all about. Now, obviously, we're going to focus on the core three that got us here to this point, to this point in the first place, which are pro wrestling, sports, and pop culture. Because all three of these things have been a big part of my life. I played a lot of sports growing up. I bowled for my high school team, and I was actually the equipment manager and ball boy on Friday nights for my high school team as well, and that was a lot of fun. I also got to coach middle school football with my dad, which in a lot of ways was a dream come true and a bucket list item that I didn't know if I'd ever get that chance to cross that off. So that was a really cool experience. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of sports, whether it's football, hockey, baseball, basketball. Um, with the World Cup, I've been watching a few games because I actually did used to play indoor soccer when I was really little. And that was always a lot of fun. So I've always kind of liked soccer. It's kind of something that I can pick up and watch for a little bit because it really is an exciting game. So I highly recommend you guys check out the World Cup. There's a lot of great games going on there. Anyways, so with pro wrestling, here's what the areas of focus are going to be. My plan is to do retrospectives on past and current events, like basically past PLEs. Maybe it could be SummerSlam, um, Royal Rumble. Maybe I do another video on Evolution, the first one, and just kind of more things that lean into the past and kind of my early experiences with being a pro wrestling fan. Because, little background, I started watching pro wrestling in 2018. So obviously, I have a lot of great memories from that year. And now I can't wait to share those memories with you guys. And one idea I have planned is to do a retrospective on SummerSlam 2018, because that was the first year I started watching pro wrestling. And that was one of the things that I was really dialed in on was just, hey, how good is this going to be? And I'd really like to cover the classic SummerSlams from 2018 to maybe 2021, because those, in my opinion, are some of the most enjoyable ones. Even 2020 had a lot of good stuff to offer. So even though it was a really terrible year. And current events, obviously, I'm still keeping up with WWE, AEW, and really whatever wrestling I can find, and really more specifically women's wrestling, because 2018, that was when I became a real fan of women's wrestling and seeing how it's evolved and how far it has come from being just this thing that fans would get up and go take a bathroom break for, go to the concession stand for, to being what it is now. Having the first all women's pay per view, Evolution in 2018. Having women main event WrestleMania for the first time ever at WrestleMania 35, which you might not be able to see it very well, but in the back, I've actually got a poster from WrestleMania 35. And that was really one of the reasons that I got it, was because I remember that. And I remember watching highlights of that match. But I also remember going to bed that night hoping that Becky Lynch would pull it out and walk out with both titles. So, I kind of thought that was a really cool mania. And at some point, we are going to do a retrospective on that with a very special guest, a very good friend of mine. So keep an eye out for that. That is coming your way very soon. Another thing would be stories about great rivalries. Like what I had planned for episode 60 of What's the Tea was I was going to do a retrospective on the rivalry between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Because in a lot of ways, that was the rivalry that drew me in and made me want to keep watching pro wrestling every single week. So, I've got that planned. It's going to happen at some point. I don't know when exactly, but we will see. Another one would be recaps of matches and storylines going on because, despite all the bullshit that goes on with WWE, with them being part of TKO or Endeavor as they're originally referred to, there's still some great things going on, you know? So, for as much as I criticize the product, there are still some things that I am enjoying. Like, I am enjoying the women's tag division. I'm enjoying Sol Ruca as the women's intercontinental champion. I'm even enjoying Tiffany Stratton as the United States women's champion because I think, as I said, women's wrestling is great. And I'm really enjoying that stuff right now. So, and another piece of advice that I could really give is just this. If somebody is enjoying something, I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm going to let them enjoy that storyline that's going on. Like the thing with Liv Morgan being in the Queen of the Ring tournament and getting all the way to the finals. This half of the room absolutely hates this. This half of the room absolutely loves it. And I'm not going to take that away from the people that are loving it. Because when somebody is enjoying something going on in pro wrestling, that is what it's all about at the end of the day. It's just they're enjoying this. They're loving every second of it. And that's what it's all about. It's not about the people that hate it. It's not about the people that are saying, oh, this sucks. Why did they do this? Why is this a thing? It's not about that. And I get it. Pro wrestling is very opinionated. It's one of the things that it has going for it, but at the same time, one of the things that is going against it? So it's kind of a double edged sword. And you just have to be prepared for which side you're going to be on with it. Or maybe you don't have a side in it and you just watch it because it's like, I've been a fan for 8 years. I'm just watching it because I enjoy it, you know? So that's kind of my stance on that. And with AEW, there's a lot of great things going on there. Like, they've probably got the best tag division in pro wrestling today. Like, and it's going to get even better potentially because the Motor City Machine Guns might be showing up there. The New Day might be showing up there. Like, there are free agent tag teams now that got released from WWE and other companies that may be heading over to AEW soon. And I for sure am definitely keeping my eyes on that because that is going to be very interesting to see. They've also got a really great women's division as well. Like, I like what they're doing there. They're doing a lot of really great things. So, for as much as I said with all the bullshit with WWE and sometimes the bullshit with AEW and with TNA, we just have to learn to live with it. But sometimes there are going to be terrible storylines. And what we should do as fans is just focus more on the really good storylines, the storylines that we want to watch each week, because that's what it's all about. Moving on to sports. Again, there'll probably be more retrospectives on great games, because for one, I love going back and watching classic college football games. Because there's some I remember watching live and going, oh my goodness, how is this going to end? Like that Alabama Auburn game in 2023, I want to say. It's coming down to the wire. Alabama's making so many mistakes. But then 4th and 31, Jalen Milrow just launches that thing deep down the field. And who somehow catches it out of the back of the end zone? Isaiah Bond catches it in the back of the end zone. And I remember jumping off the couch in Florida with my dad watching this game. Like, oh my goodness. Against all odds, the Tide somehow pulled this thing out. and we're going to the SEC championship. It was just unbelievable. So yeah, definitely look for retrospectives on great games. You're definitely going to get this at some point. And talking about great players, because I grew up as an NFL fan, there were so many great quarterbacks. There was Peyton Manning, there was Tom Brady, there was Ben Roethlisberger. There was a guy that I think really doesn't get a lot of love, even though he really should for what he did with the Chargers, Philip Rivers. There was Kurt Warner still in his prime. Well, kind of past it, but he was still going strong with the Cardinals. There was Drew Brees. There was just a who's who of guys. There was Steve McNair. There was a young Matt Schaub, who again is another guy that I think people are just so quick to go, oh, he wasn't a great quarterback. Oh, he had Andre Johnson. Oh, he had Arian Foster. Yes, he had all those things, but he knew how to use those things. And that's why he was a great quarterback. And arguably, before Deshaun Watson and CJ Stroud, you got to say that Matt Schaub was the best quarterback the Texans ever had. And really, David Carr, he's another guy that doesn't get a lot of credit because he was beat up so much. He played with offensive lines that were just not fully developed yet. And he just got injured so much, you know? So we're definitely going to do some things on great players at some point. Another thing is just kind of this is an episode I have planned, kind of looking at the 5 storylines I'm watching this season in the NFL. I know that's going to be a really great video. And that may be something we kind of do during the season is just go through the storylines that are developing because, hey man, I'm one of those people that believes the NFL is just as scripted as pro wrestling. Because you cannot explain to me sometimes how games end. Like, I am still a believer that the fix was in on the Colts the day they played the Browns. How they got absolutely screwed in 2023 when we literally twice won the game. And we just get absolutely screwed with the most BS penalty calls. A phantom pass interference call. They call, I think the first one was holding or roughing the passer or something. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. How in the world do they call this like this? And that would kind of explain why Patrick Mahomes, and this is not a knock on him, he's a great player, but it would kind of explain how the Kansas City Chiefs, despite how battered and bruised they are, a lot of times find a way to get to the AFC Championship and absolutely screw over the team they're playing, whether it's the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens. You know, so the NFL is scripted, people, if you didn't know. And I have this conspiracy theory that since Vince McMahon is no longer involved in pro wrestling, he's secretly Roger Goodell. That this whole time, Vince McMahon is secretly Roger Goodell. It is my conspiracy theory that I will go to my fucking grave with. Because how else are you going to explain that the NFL is scripted? Well, it's very simple. Vincent Kennedy McMahon is in charge of it all. He is the one running the NFL. Roger Goodell is simply just a puppet. But yeah, that's one of my conspiracy theories that you are definitely going to hear about a heck of a lot in this show, especially when we get some screwy finishes this season. And don't say I didn't warn you on that, because that will definitely happen. Another one is recaps of games. Because I started doing these YouTube shorts where I would recap the Colts game. And I would basically open up a bottle of milk at the end because they celebrate at the Indy 500. The winning driver is in the winner's circle. He gets to kiss the brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He gets to kiss that at the end, and they also give him a thing of milk that they can chug. So what I do is I have a victory glass of milk every time the Colts win. I started this last year, and I got to drink 8 or 7 glasses of milk. 7 glasses of milk for every Colts win. Well, not 7 for every win, but 1 for every win. And I just thought that was a really fun idea. And I might bring that onto the show, but it just depends how my Indianapolis Colts are going to do this year. I'm hoping it's going to be a great year. I am very optimistic with the Ursay sisters running the team now that we're going to be really good. And I think that some people are kind of sleeping on us in a lot of ways because I believe we can be a really good team because I've been rooting for this team since, fuck, probably the day I was born, you know? So this team has been a part of my life for over 20 years. And I love them. I hate them sometimes, but I'm always going to be a Colts fan at the end of the day because I have so many great memories there. And we will definitely touch on that in some of the retrospective episodes as well. Moving on to pop culture, because, I've grown up with pop culture for a very long time in my life. And part of that is books. I like to read books. I like to read books on wrestlers. And that's going to be an episode that comes up at some point where I review wrestling books that I've read and even just do a thing where I just go over my 5 favorites of all time because I think that kind of makes a good episode. Another part of pop culture, video game reviews. I have been a big fan of video games since, man, I cannot even name, really. Probably since the first time I played a Nintendo DS. I have been such a big fan of video games. And one year for Christmas, I actually got a Nintendo Wii. And it was, for a long time, one of the funnest things you could play. But eventually, I got tired of that and I went and started playing PlayStation 2 because my dad had a PlayStation 2. And eventually, he gave it to me. And eventually, we started playing hockey against each other in a game called NHL 2002, which I will absolutely review at some point. Because there's kind of more lore to it in terms of me being a hockey fan that we will definitely touch on at some point. But yeah, video game reviews, I think that's a great thing because I'm a gamer, man. I love playing sports games. I cannot play any of the new Maddens because they're just not what the old ones used to be. And we will touch on that debate at some point with just how the games from the PlayStation 2 era and the PlayStation 3 era and the early PS4 era are so much better than what we have now in the PlayStation 5, at least with gameplay. Like, the graphics obviously look incredible, but the gameplay is just not what it used to be, you know? There was a time when the gameplay was the most important thing to EA, and it was just fun to play, and it wasn't just, "Oh, look at how realistic the stadiums look. Look at how the fans look. Look at the the pyro in the team entrances and all this." Those are all great things, but I think I speak for the sports gaming community when I say, "EA, fix the gameplay in these games. They absolutely suck. they're not what it used to be. Madden needs to go back to its roots. You're doing great with the EA College Football series. I love that series way more than Madden because it's so much fun to play. The graphics look amazing. The commentary. I mean, this is something that I could not have possibly even imagined when NCAA first stopped being a thing. Because when that stopped, it was like, well, are college sports games ever going to come back? That was something I wondered for years and years. And then when I finally saw EA College Football 25, I was like, holy sh! It actually happened. They actually are doing this. And it's one of the funnest games I've ever played. And I just continue to invest in that series because it's fantastic. And it only shows signs of improvement and continuing to get better, you know? So I continue to just put my stock in those games because they're fun to play. And if you were to tell me after NCAA 14 was the last game of the series that it was going to come back someday, I would have said you were crazy. But the way things have just changed, it's just amazing how now we're playing NCAA football on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox One S or whatever the fuck generation they're on. And that's not a knock on the Xbox gamers. When it comes to the console wars with video games, I'm just like, if you're a PlayStation person, that's great. You're my kind of person. Because I have a PS2, a PS3, a PS4, and a PS5. And some people sometimes ask me, why on earth do you keep the old consoles? Because who wouldn't want to be the person to say they have 4 generations of PlayStation in their house? To me, that's just kind of a really cool thing. And at any time, I could plug in my PS2 or my PS3 or maybe in my PS4 sometimes and just relive those days, you know? So yeah, that to me is just, it means something. And again, getting into pop culture music reviews. Because, I'll take the time to listen to new albums or listen to old ones and just sit and review those. Because I think that would kind of be a fun idea. Like I listened to the Taylor Swift Life of a Showgirl album. I honestly think it was really good. Sure, there are some songs that I kind of go, well, it's good, it's not good, but overall, I thoroughly enjoyed that album. I thought there were a lot of really good songs, and I thought it was just a great idea and a great overall concept. So, yeah, if you didn't know, now you know. This guy is a Swiftie. I like the classics, I like what she does now, but you will never, and I mean ever, get me to say that Shake It Off is a good song. I love the message behind it. It's great. That's a great message that when something bad happens, you just simply shake it off and move on. I like that. I really do. But when I was in elementary school, I would hear this song so much and almost as bad as Justin Bieber's Baby to the point where I was just like, like, it just drove me nuts how much I would hear this song. And we even did it one time in chorus back in middle school. When I was in the 7th grade, it was my last year in the chorus, and we sang Shake It Off. And I absolutely loathed that song, and I had to do it. I had to simply do it, which I did. I did it at the concert, and the way we retuned it. It was really good. I wound up really enjoying that. But yeah, Shake It Off is one of my least favorite songs ever. Because Taylor, I love you. The message is great. It's a really positive message and a really powerful one. But I absolutely hate that song. I absolutely hate it. Movie reviews. I really like the classic movies. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is Forrest Gump, because that statement really holds true today. That life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. You never know the people you're gonna meet. You never know the things you're gonna get to experience. You never know the lessons you're gonna learn. And you never know what's gonna happen in the world, you know? So that's just really what I take away from that movie. And it's a great timepiece with just how things were changing with segregation and integrating schools. And the Vietnam War, you see Forrest, he's in the war and he's picking up Bubba, who looks like he's about to die. And that's really one of those scenes that sometimes tugs on the heartstrings for me, because it's like Forrest and Bubba had a great friendship. And obviously this is where the Bubba Gum shrimp franchise came from. And I actually ate at one of those restaurants once on a vacation in San Diego, and it was really good. They had a really good shrimp po' boy that I highly recommend. So it was just delicious. But yeah, I love that movie and what it really symbolizes. So I do plan on at some point doing movie reviews where I watch a new movie. Like I recently watched Marty Supreme, Timothy Chalamet. This guy is fantastic. His portrayal of this character is just amazing. And it gets a little dark at times. I'm gonna warn you, it gets a little dark at times, but it's a great movie, and I really enjoyed it from start to finish. So, yeah, movie reviews are definitely gonna be part of this. And another thing is TV shows, because some people would say I watch too much television. And yeah, I'm willing to admit that that is an addiction for me. That is a drug of choice for me, because there's just so many great things about classic TV shows. And for the next episode, I kind of plan on covering my favorite TV shows of all time, doing a segment I like to call My Favorite Things, where I just go over things that are my favorite things, you know, whether it's sports, pro wrestling, or pop culture. The next episode, it'll be TV shows. I think you'll enjoy it. And I really hope I don't get crucified in the comments for the things I'm about to say about some of your favorite shows. Like, please do not come after me on Twitter for this. I know that there are going to be some things I say about some favorite TV shows that people like, that people are going to absolutely hate, but we will just deal with that when we do. Oh, and another thing I would say as another area of focus is going to be art. Because what I really love about wrestling posters is the art behind it when people do these artistic things. And there's so many people out there that do these drawings of wrestlers and these drawings of things in wrestling. And I just love it. I love it. It's just fantastic. And I would really love, is what I used to do on my old show was there was a point in time I would actually find these people on Instagram and Twitter and sometimes Facebook, and I would say, "Hey, I really like your art. Can I showcase your art on my show?" And a lot of the times I would hear yes. So I would really love to do that again because there's a lot of people I follow that I really like their art. And I'd really love to give them a platform to showcase that artwork. And maybe at some point I get the chance to talk to them about that art. That'd be kind of cool. And I actually got a little sketch that I prepared. One Saturday, I just got this idea in my head when I was kind of thinking of what the new logo could look like for the show. And I came up with this. Yep, that is an Owen Black original based on that's an Owen original. This thing right here. I found this image actually on ChatGPT, and I just decided, well, I don't want to use the image itself because I'm trying to be more authentic and be more original. So I decided to just simply make a sketch of it, and that's the way it turned out. And I think it turned out really well. So when you see the logo, you're going to see this because I really enjoyed that I got to sketch it, and I thought it looked really cool to kind of be a thing that goes away from the original concept and kind of evolves it in a way. And more show focus areas, I would say, are, as I said, my favorite things. There's so much I've gotten to experience. There's so many things that I love. There's so many things that I just enjoy. And I'd love to get to share that with you guys. I didn't think I could do that on What's the Tea because I focus so much about the three core concepts that I named earlier, which are pro wrestling, sports, and pop culture. But I really think that now that I'm doing this, I'm kind of free in a sense to be more creative, to do things that I didn't get to do originally. And I think that's going to be a really great thing. And I can't wait for you guys to see that. Another show focus area, as I said, was going to be interviews. I had the absolute honor of getting to interview this really good friend of mine and being able to talk about Evolution 2 that happened last year. That was really a lot of fun, and I want more experiences like that. So I would love to have more people on this show. And going back to me being a journalist, for these stories I've worked on, I've gotten to interview people from all different walks of life. And at the end of the day, I've really enjoyed getting to hear their story. And I would really like to share more stories on this show. So if you're a listener and you would really like to be on the show, hit me up on my Twitter at Teatime with Owen and we'll discuss all the details. Because I would really love to do more episodes like that. Because I think that would just be fun and that would be really an enjoyable experience. And I think I've honestly gotten better at doing interviews. Like, that's really one thing that I can point to with becoming a journalist is just I've gotten better at setting up interviews. I've gotten better at finding interviews and just being able to get things done for a story or maybe being able to set up an angle for a next story, you know? So I think in a lot of ways I've gotten better at it. And I've really enjoyed that aspect of journalism. So I can't wait to bring that onto the show because I think that'll be really great in a lot of ways. And another thing would be answering questions about topics. As I said, the core three that I cover are pro wrestling, sports, and pop culture. And this is just kind of a thing that I think I could do a better job with now that I'm doing this show is just breaking down some things that I love about each of those things and answering questions that you guys send in. Again, hit me up at Owen the Man at, or it's not at Tea Time with Owen, but it's Tea Time with Owen on Twitter. And it's the same thing on Instagram, Tea Time with Owen. It's also at Owen the Fan 316 on Instagram as well. So hit me up with any questions you have about what's going on in pro wrestling, sports, pop culture, or really anything in general too, because I'd really like to be able to answer your guys' questions because that's something I've really seen from a lot of podcasts and a lot of YouTube channels that I watch is they're open to answering questions from the fans. And I think that would be great for me to start doing that. Because as much as this runs because of me, it runs more because of you, the people that watch. And I think that really I could do a better job of including you guys. I want to have more fan engagement with this show. That's definitely a goal that I came up with during that heart to heart with myself last Saturday. So yeah, there's also going to be more fan polls too, because that's kind of something I enjoy doing on Twitter. Is just coming up with things like there was this thing I did called the "What's the Tea Awards," and it always got really good traction. Because I look at the amount of people that voted, and I look at how the voting finished, and I would be like, "Wow, that's fantastic." I was really glad to see that. Anyways, I think that really about wraps things up here for this first episode of Tea Time with Owen and kind of disclosing the aftermath of What's the Tea. I've obviously been your host, Owen, a guy with many passions and many projects, and you guys have obviously been my wonderful and amazing audience. Now, in terms of availability, this show is going to be available on Spotify in audio form, like it was with What's the Tea, and it's also going to be available in video form on YouTube because I've been trying to build up my YouTube channel and get more subscribers and things like that, you know? So that I think would be really good. And also will be on other platforms as well. Because there's this one thing I use called RSS link, which allows you to be on Amazon and other things like that, which I think is really cool. iHeartRadio being another one. I think that's really cool. And yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, leave a review on Spotify as well. Let me know what you thought about it. And be sure to check out some clips from YouTube of this episode and many of the other episodes that I'm going to do for this. But yeah, that really just about does it. So I want to thank you guys for listening to this first episode. And this episode's going to be part of kind of a series, like the first three episodes of Tea Time with Owen. Because that's kind of what I'm doing is I'm doing three episodes that all cover different things. Like this is the first episode, the introduction. Then there'll be a second episode, then there'll be a third episode, and then I'm gonna get that all uploaded, and I'm just kinda gonna see how it all does, and see if maybe, just maybe, there is something there with this. And I'm not saying I'm gonna quit if the analytics are not great. No, because for one thing, I think another thing that really caused me to decide to start over again was I looked at all the analytics and the YouTube shorts always did really good because they were clips from the podcast episodes. But the podcast episodes themselves just never did great numbers. And that was something I got easily discouraged with to the point where I would just give up, you know? So, but that was something that I think I forgot is why I started doing podcasting. It's because I love this. I love this and I love to create and I love to entertain people. I love to inform people. I love to have fun. And most importantly, I love to be true to myself. I love to be authentic with you guys. And again, that was another reason I decided to restart was because as much as I enjoyed being at Owen the Man 316, and that guy was a character, but I just want to be me in front of you guys. I want to be myself. I want to be true to myself and I want to be authentic. Because that's another thing I've learned from watching all the podcasts that I do and watching all the YouTubers that I do is they are themselves. And really that's the best piece of advice that we're given when we're kids is that you should always be yourself. You shouldn't try to be someone else. You should be yourself. No matter how confident you are in yourself, or maybe you don't have that confidence in yourself yet. And you're told fake it till you make it, which, excuse me, I think that is a great piece of advice. But the more you are yourself, the more people are going to enjoy your content. And I really hope that is the case with us. Because I'm really excited to start again and to do new things, you know? So I'm really excited for this. And I really hope you guys are excited for it too. And by the time this is uploaded, I will have the second episode up. So if you've really enjoyed this, go check out the next episode because it's fun on a bun. Now I've got to run. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy everything that's going on. And go have some fun out there, regardless of the weather. Anyways, for Tea Time with Owen, I'm Owen. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, love, I'm out.